Dozens of people lined the streets to pay their last respects to Sharif Rahman.
His kindness and his peacefulness, that's what it really speaks towards, right? That's why everyone's coming out, because he was that type of person that, you want to support him and his family.
Born in Bangladesh, Rahman was among the newcomers in this community on the shores of Georgian Bay. There has been tension, but also solidarity. Rahman owned the Curry House in the city's downtown. A week and a half ago, he was attacked by 3 men who were leaving his restaurant. Police say it was a dispute over an unpaid bill. He died in hospital 2 days ago. This memorial has been growing steadily all day. People here say almost everyone in town has had a meal here. They come not just for the food, but to support a valued member of the community. The mayor said Rahman served on a local committee and would cook food for charity fundraisers on top of his own long work days.
Always a smile on his face, always warm, always very, very nice to talk to, and so happy to see everyone. He loved the community and he loved everyone in it.
Police are investigating his death as a homicide. They released these surveillance camera images and say 3 white males fled in a gray or blue Ford Escape. The National Council of Canadian Muslims are asking the police to consider all possible motives. Philip Lishanok, CBC News, Owen Sound, Ontario.
They beat him to death. They beat him up, and he died of his injuries.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not trying to nitpick, but that's 2 different things.
Oh, I get what you're trying to say. Like, they probably didn't intend to kill him.
They weren't, like,
they just
pummeling
intend
him.
to debilitate him to the point of let's get out of here.
That's how I understand it. But we can talk about it.
We just go. Like, I just from the story and just from knowing just Canada in general, I don't think we're the same as our neighbors. I don't think we have necessarily the same, and I'm sure a lot of you guys may disagree, but I don't think this was a targeted racist attack. This just seems like 2 drunk guys beat somebody, again, probably not with the intention of killing him, and unfortunately they did. That's the way I've seen the story. Now, why they're not haven't been apprehended, they haven't found it, I don't know about the uproar, but it seems like he was generally loved by the community. And even though there's a few, I think they said the mosque was vandalized in the community. So although the mosque was vandalized, it sounded like the community was overall, there's just a loud minority, but the community seemed like they were overall,
Yeah, like I think there was support, from the community, after the fact. But I mean, I don't know, 3 guys not paying the bill, one guy drove, right? So one guy wasn't drunk, and they beat him basically not to death, but he died of his injuries. But I don't know, it kind of smells like racism to me. I just don't know if have they had a case where the guy who owned the fish and chips restaurant down the street had the same issue, right? So I don't know. I think I think the thing is, though, it's I don't think the town of Owen Sound's racist. I think it's just these 3 guys that could have been, right? And that's not just Owen Sound. That could be anywhere. That could be in Oakville. That could be in Mississauga. That could be anywhere, right? I think it just with the details are provided, it seems a bit didn't pay the bill.
See, this is why I don't watch the news, truthfully, because as I listened to that video, listen to the words that are being said, and we could interpret so many different parts. We could say, Owen Sound, not a very heavy, Indian community. So, and the people that did this to him were white. So yes, it's racism, right? Or it could be, if I didn't hear the word white, it could have been somebody from his own community that didn't want to pay and they beat him up. And it's a racism? No, it's stupid people.
Actually, that's
doing
a good
stupid
point.
Stuff.
Mathematically, what were the chances that the person who beat him was white? It's probably 85%.
Right? And be very clear, I'm very, very conscious of racism. I mean, I am a Black woman in this world. So I'm raising a young Black boy married to a Black man. So absolutely very conscious of it. But sometimes when I listen to the news, I listen to it with, what are they trying to sell me? Because truthfully, this whole video to me should have been about the fact that a upstanding person in the community got beaten up and died of their injuries because some ignorant people didn't want to pay their bill. Full stop.
Yeah, regardless of their color.
Right? And then on top of that, let me just say one more thing, and they haven't caught them. I'm sorry.
Yeah, do we know that?
I'm seeing. Well, it seems like if they haven't, why?
Yeah.
Because Owen Sound and a lot of towns in this world are not that big.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. It's a tiny town.
Right.
There's like one Ford Explorer. That's great.
And you had
there's only one. You can't find the guy.
right. And so I look at this and I say this was a really bad scene of humans being very cruel to other humans. And this has to stop. So I'm not going to call it racism. I don't, because I don't know the town. I don't know what other issues he may have had. We're getting information based on what the news are telling us and what the friend, the one friend, exactly.
Right.
So I will say this is people behaving very badly. And if he had survived, this would be a different conversation. This would be, the conversation about people skipping out on their bills, people, beating up people because they don't want to pay for services.
I think
the narrative could have been a whole bunch of different things.
They always say, well, Charlemagne the God always says,
You're really just quoting Charlemagne the God.
I love that guy.
Oh, okay, wow.
The truth doesn't matter if the lie is more entertaining.
Absolutely.
Right. So if he didn't pass away from the beginning, it would still be white guys beat on someone named Rahman. Right. Now you grew up in Scarborough, you said, right?
Yes.
And now your son's growing up also in that
east,
area.
in the east side.
Oh
of the
yeah,
city.
I forgot Ajax Pickering way.
Okay, no, not that far east.
All right, Durham. Does Durham pick up the garbage? All right,
I get it, Andrew.
All right. So, would you say that from your context versus now watching your son grow up, has racism increased or decreased?
That's such a loaded question. I think it's actually stayed the same, and it's manifesting itself in different ways, in different situations, in different parts of the world, including here.
I just mean here in the GTA.
Again, I think it's manifesting itself a lot more obviously because people feel very comfortable to be racist in public. People are very comfortable being racist online. They're very comfortable being racist on podcasts. They're very comfortable to come up to you on the road, on the street, and hurl racial slurs to you. Before, it was a smaller minority of people that would speak on it and that you wouldn't necessarily hear. But now we have everything out there, so you're seeing it all. You're seeing it on live streams. You're seeing it on everything.
Would you say that they'd be comfortable enough to kind of show their racism by skipping a bill at an ethnic restaurant?
Potentially.
So,
but again, I don't know. Did they shout and say? And I don't know. And I don't know racial slurs for Indian people, but I don't know. Like when they were not paying their bill and they were, I'm assuming there was an argument happening. Were they shouting out racial slurs? I don't know.
Right. But there must have been witnesses, right?
But that's what I'm saying. Nobody said anything.
Yeah,
nobody said, bystanders or restaurant goers said they heard these men say X, Y, Z. That's why I said
they left to a dispute over the bill. That's what. But hey, I get it. Like it seems like and again to your point, it might be that typical the ethnic store owner gets beaten by a group of white males. Right. So again,
it could go either way. It could go either way.
We don't know until we catch those men.
And I'm not smiling because it's funny. I'm just smiling because that's really bad. I'm smiling because yes, your point. I'm happy that you made your point.